The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show, brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. Dan with you with Michael and Rob as well. Here's the Man City preview then. Away win, off we go. On to heroes and villains.
Jesse says we're going to go for it, didn't he? Against the biggest Goliath in the world.
In what sense? Are we going to copy the biblical parable and bring a sling full of stones to pepper them in the face with them? In the face?
I only watched the second half of the game last night.
It was very entertaining, the Real Madrid game, by the way.
It was. Yeah. It was really good. He was getting the kids to bed.
Which goes to show you
the first half.
You can get at them.
Yes.
With Karim Benzema.
Yes, who we more or less have in Dan James. Mm-hmm. That physical presence up front caused them issues, didn't it? They're just really good. It was like watching like a documentary about plane crashes the night before you go on a plane. You know, so that was the things where you're watching it and just going, oh God. Oh.
Why did I watch this? Why am I still watching even though I'm aware of this thought? Yeah.
That has made it so much worse.
On my refusing to acknowledge things tip, I was about to turn it on, checked the score, it was 2-0 after 10 minutes, and decided to watch the snooker. I thought that would be far more soothing than watching how great Man City are.
Are we going to pot the blue on Saturday? That's the question, Rob. There is the question. Yeah, 4-3 against Real Madrid, but you can get at them. Can we get at them?
We didn't earlier in the season, did we?
No, not really.
They got at us
but in many ways, all the joking aside, right, because they did obviously dick us 7-0 earlier in the season, and they're very good at everything, and as we said in one of the shows we've done today, they've got £50 million footballers in every position and then some. What's a good result here? What is this? Is this the litmus test of Marsch, where we find out whether his more pragmatic style has any benefits? Because there's quite legitimately going to be an argument that let's say we lose 2 or 3-0, and people say, well, it's an improvement on earlier in the season, and they might be right. Which is shit.
I suppose the model for it is looking at Everton against Liverpool, where it's Liverpool, they're more or less on a power. Man City, aren't they? The two of them, they're kind of neck and neck, I would say. And Everton were in that game, as horrendously ugly as it was to watch, and for the amount of ridiculous cheating and time wasting that went on, they did still have some chances. And I guess you can justify the approach, just like if we'd beaten Palace and played as badly as we did. If we had managed to snatch one, or we win a late penalty and get a goal, or get a goal from a set piece or something, it does justify the approach. And I know we did beat Man City last year, but we did that by sitting deep and hitting them on the break, which is more like what we're going to try and do now. It felt like a miracle at the time, and I feel like those things don't happen very often.
Have we used up all our godly miracles?
I mean, Liverpool, I don't know what the odds for us are, but I noticed Everton were 16-1 to beat Liverpool.
Let's have a look, shall we?
Which for two teams in the same league is ridiculous. There must be the widest odds of any Merseyside derby ever, probably.
I am intrigued what going for it under Marsch looks like, because one of the things he was mentioning in his post-Palace press was how he'd coached against Guardiola's City before this season. So I thought, I'll go look back at how they got on.
How did they get on, Rob?
And he was coaching RB Leipzig at the Etihad, and they lost 6-3, which is an improvement.
But what about the return leg? Is the return leg that's important, Rob?
The return leg is interesting, because RB Leipzig won 2-1, but that came 2 days after Jesse Marsch had left the job.
Damn.
And that was sort of a rotated City team, which we might be facing at the weekend if they are between two Champions League semi-finals, which is what I'm kind of pinning my hopes on for. Because before the Palace game, I had a weird feeling of, do you know what, I fancy us to beat City. And then I watched us play against Palace, and I thought, oh God, this could be terrifying.
But maybe it's like mixing water and oil. And that's what we want to make, a horrible oily mess, because that's what we need to do, isn't it? We need to drag them down to our level, and we need to get them involved. We need to give them the Palace treatment and get them involved in a battle. That's how we can maybe claw something out of this.
Do you remember when Michael Brown tried kicking Yaya Toure out of the game from Man City and he just booted us back?
Yeah, I was at that game. They scored for about 5 minutes, didn't they? We were never in it. It was one of those things you turn up, you're like, well, might be a cup-ups. No. Straight away. I mean, I'd take a 6-3 defeat. That sounds entertaining, and only a 3-goal margin.
And you'd see 9 goals.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see us getting anything. I really cannot. I mean,
but if there is one crumb of comfort, isn't it not? Or a sliver of hope, not a crumb of comfort. If there's a sliver of hope, isn't it not what Rob said, that they're between two Real Madrid games here? And I know they're trying to battle on all fronts here, but isn't that... It's a bit enough of a distraction where it gives us a little bit of something to cling to.
It means they might rest some players. Like, De Bruyne might be given a day off or something, which might help a bit.
I'd be up for that.
But,
Give De Bruyne a rest. Put Jack Grealish in so we've got somebody to hate on.
That's true.
Have a pantomime villain.
Yeah, I'm glad it's at Ellen Road as well. It feels like ages since we've been. And it was the Southampton game, the last home game, wasn't it? And being there it felt all right. And then afterwards I was a bit like, it wasn't great. But it felt a lot better being there than watching Watford and watching the Palace game has been, which I've found terrible.
Yeah, that was the big discrepancy when we did Watford, and people were saying, like, the comments on the match ball were like, we were dead negative, and a lot of people who were there said it was brilliant, which it is when you win 3-0, but it was very stressful. I think we were all feeding off each other in here when we were watching it as well, like the anxiety attached to it all. Yeah, it is always better to suffer in the ground than it is to suffer watching on telly. That is absolutely true. The odds, by the way, according to Sky Bet, we are 9-1 in what is effectively a 2-horse race, albeit there's a third outcome. The draw is 5-1. They are 4-1 on to win that game, Man City.
Seems quite good, I would say.
Just looking at Who Scored's preview, and Man City seems to have a lot of strengths and one weakness, which is aerial duels. So
they're good at finishing scoring chances, Rob. That concerns me.
So, Dan James up against their centre-backs.
They're good at attacking down the wings. Very good at that.
We don't have wings.
So we don't do wings, so that's fine.
But if you attack down the wings, you can't score from a wing, can you?
No, because as Jesse said, the goal's in the middle.
The goal is not in the corner flag, as he said.
So as long as we're solid in the middle.
So if we have 10 players in the box, in the middle, which is what we're likely to see, I suspect.
We can be bus parking knobheads like Everton.
Yeah, they're good at defending set pieces. They're good at attacking set pieces. They like creating long shot opportunities. They like everything. And they like protecting the lead as well. The weakness is aerial duels.
We're not that good at them, are we?
Well, if we can force them to pump the ball into the box from out wide, this is how we will win, by clearing headers from Liam Cooper.
I mean, there was some feedback on the propaganda sheet from someone suggesting we should just play Charlie Cresswell up front if all we're going to do is move it forward. So maybe this is the game to try it out.
Yeah.
Maybe do it. Just go big. Strauk, Cresswell. Who else is big? Big people off the bench. Cock from the start. Yelder. Fully Allardyce it. Big lads.
Do you know what?
Rafinha on the long throws.
As ugly as this would be, I think I'd enjoy it.
It would be quite funny.
It'd be the most wild, the maddest thing you'd ever seen, wouldn't it? If suddenly we just packed the entire team with big thugs.
Just Rafinha stood with the ball in his hands.
Yeah. Rafinha, you stand up front, maybe not on your own. We'll leave Dan James in there for
James for the running.
But mind you, he's a thug.
He is
just a little thug now, Scrappy Doo.
He's a modern day Bremner.
Minus all the
apart from if you take away the
intelligence,
the stuff he does on the.
That was what Carragher said on Monday Night Football. He said it was like having Bremner and Giles back in midfield. The amount of tackles going in.
That's quite a stretch, that.
Yeah,
Jamie. I mean, they're going to win, aren't they? Probably.
Yeah. You're normally the optimistic one here, but
as we were saying, was it in the previous section or whatever, or was it in propaganda where we were just saying like, well, it's going to get to this game. It's like, well, they're going to win. What's the point? What's the point of even getting your hopes up? Don't dream about anything, kids. It's pointless.
I mean, they just to go back to the predicted league. They're predicted to finish on 91 points this season. We're predicted 38 points, so there's quite a gap to bridge there.
Would this be probably our best ever Premier League result if we were to win it?
Beating them last year was arguably better because it was 10 men at their place.
Given where we are in the league.
I was going to say it was also relatively meaningless for us, wasn't it? That win, it was, and it was meaningless for them, I think, as well, because they were miles clear, I think, last year.
They were really trying hard, but
they were already clear, weren't they? Like, as Liverpool had a off year, didn't they? Because Van Dijk was injured, so I think they were well clear. We were well safe.
I've just got visions now because I've just noticed on the sheet here, like the style of play criteria from WhoScored.com saying that Man City are non-aggressive in their style, and I've just got visions of Dan James going through one of them in the first 5 minutes. Then he does it again after about 20. He gets sent off. We're playing with 10 men again. That could happen, couldn't it?
And then through goes Dallas.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, 20 minutes, and we're playing with 10 men for the rest of the game. Why not? Let's do it. I mean, I'm just looking at their squad. Look at that. It's ridiculous. What's the point?
Yeah.
How do you compete with that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only Phil Foden they can be proud of. And even then, that's because they've got a ridiculous academy.
I think he's a Man City fan, though, isn't he?
Yeah. Still,
that's just luck.
Does it count? Yeah.
He's only a Man City fan because he was a glory hunting little shit. He'd have been a Man United fan if he'd been born 10 years earlier.
Well,
probably.
De Bruyne.
He's probably got quite a hard family, actually. He'll come and find me. He would have always supported Man City.
Gabriel Jesus, they don't even want him anymore.
Well, it's interesting.
And he can't stop scoring.
Well, they don't really have anyone who scores that many goals, do they? I know they're looking at getting Haaland this year, which will probably remedy that. But they've just got loads of players who score quite a lot of goals, like De Bruyne and Mahrez and Sterling and Foden. Like they all get quite a lot, but they don't have like a 30-goal man anymore, do they, since Aguero left?
They're all just really, really good.
They don't need one, and that's upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet, there is a part of me, despite all that, I'm glad we're us.
Well, the thing is with Man City, it's quite hard to hate them because they're really good to watch. Like when Chelsea were being good in the early Abramovich era, like it was Mourinho, and it was quite nice that they were stopping scum winning stuff. But the actual football wasn't great, was it? And they had quite a few players who were hard to love, like Lampard and Terry and Drogba were always kind of annoying to watch and play against. Whereas Man City are really quite fun in the main.
And very good, yeah.
So it's hard to...
And obviously you set that against denying Liverpool things because they're unbearable, and Man United because they're unbearable.
Yeah, and like if Newcastle become good, I get the feeling they'll be unbearable too.
Oh, completely. Which we would be if it was us. We'd
absolutely.
be awful.
I don't know why Man City sort of...
City have the good grace to not enjoy this incredible fortune they've had.
Yeah, they're just quite sulky about extra games. Oh, I've got more Champions League games to go to. Yeah. Oh, another trip to bloody Wembley. That's going to cost.
And it's not real, is it, any of it? It's not real. So it doesn't count. So that's all we've got to say on that. Away win?
Yeah.
Away win, Rob?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, heart says away. Head says away win. Heart says away win, yeah. I even stumbled and messed up my own joke there. I'll go for a Leeds win.
A Leeds win, not even a point.
Let's get a win.
Some fun. That's all I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just go to a game of football.
Why not?
It'd be fun.
And we'll close this section on the words of Pep Guardiola, who said after Real Madrid, now it's wine, rest and Leeds United. That's the most important thing. And it sounds like Pep has got his priorities quite right there. That's essentially the life that I crave. Like the sound of that?
It's annoying that they need to win this. I feel like if they had a 10-point lead at this stage and Real Madrid...
It'll make them desperate.
And Real Madrid coming up next week, I feel like they could have tossed this one off a bit, but... They kind of need to win this and the Real Madrid game now.
But I was going to say, given the fact that we can't change that the title race is tight between them and Liverpool, if you'd have wanted an outcome from the Real Madrid game, it's a daft outcome like we had, like where it's really that remains tight. So it's going to have to be a balancing act. So they might just choose to rest De Bruyne, for example, because they think we're shite, which may or may not be true. Yeah,
fair enough. But we're going to lose. But that's fine.
Yeah, and on to the next week. Yeah, when we play. Arsenal. Right.
Arsenal. The thing is, Arsenal are in a completely different league to Man City. Like we probably won't get anything from it, just to leap ahead, but we could. Whereas this,
wine, rest and Leeds United this weekend. What do you reckon?
Sounds all right. Sounds like every weekend, doesn't it?
Right. That wraps up part 2 of the show. One more to go. Then in the weekly show, we'll do heroes and villains on this playlist. Stay there.
The Square Ball Podcast.